You know what? You can see me. Let's get this started. 200 people waiting. Very excited to come have this stream with you guys and talk about the current movement of the crypto market. Let me know when you can hear me. Let me know when you can see me. And of course, when you can, do me a favor and smash that like button. What's going on, everybody? Still not sure if I'm live. Am I live yet? Alrighty, it looks like we're live. Just gonna wait for 1 second here to fully load everything. Right now, the crypto markets are at a decision point, and we're all wondering, essentially, are we looking at the single best opportunity of 2020? Let me explain. Because right now, it's looking like the crypto markets could either explode off these lows and go back into an incredibly bullish posturing, or we could be in for yet another leg down and quite a bit more pain in the alts that have been so generous so far this bull market. Well, when you think about it, this is one way that the crypto market is more generous than any other, allowing for retracements in bull markets that let for pretty much any retail investor, let them get their foot in to incredible opportunities that usually in the stock market, these types of assets just don't retrace the way crypto assets do. So if we are to get confirmation off of a bounce on the Bitcoin chart or a clear sign of reversal of the macro trend back into a bullish posturing, then what we'll see is what I believe is one of the best opportunities of 2020 right in front of us. Because if you're not one of those geniuses that was buying up DeFi coins on the dip back throughout 2019 and early 2020, then you're probably looking for a way to get into the best projects early. And there's no better way to do that than seeing a ridiculously oversold pullback and being able to get in on those low prices once you already know the potential of that asset. And so we'll be talking about what I believe is the most important chart to be looking at for the next few days as we start to understand whether this Bitcoin bull run and the cryptocurrency markets as a whole will continue their bullish posturings. And of course, once we get the confirmation that they are continuing, what you need to be looking at and what I believe are the best opportunities in the entire space. So if you guys are excited for that, if you guys are excited to find out what I believe could be the best opportunity of 2020, then do me a favor, destroy that like button, smash it, obliterate it, because we have a great show today. And of course, today is a very important time to be making content because it's that lull. It's the moment where the market energy starts to really turn. People start to question whether or not this bull run was anything of substance or whether it was just a blip of speculative frenzy. And once you understand essentially which direction the market's going, we'll have plenty of time to size up these amazing positions and benefit from the next leg of the market. I'm going to check in on some of these comments really quick. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Craig Sherrill, Varsity Yuppie, Dialer Turden. How's everybody doing? Give me some comments. Give me some thumbs up. And we got 650 people watching already. If everybody smashes the like, that would just make my day. So I'm going to hop into the window view now. Big love back to everybody. Big love back. I can't wait to figure out these filters. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd my filters go? Come on. Where's this window? Ah, there you are. All right, cool. Little lag here on the video editing software, but we're all good. All right, guys. So as you know, the main chart to be watching throughout this entire time is DXY, DXY, which is, of course, the US dollar measured against a basket of currencies that it trades against. And I don't know why this chart isn't loading right now, but essentially it had a little rally here, almost 1% rally, which in this type of chart is pretty significant, right? That's a big move. And this has been pretty much the inverse correlation of the crypto markets going all the way back to March, which we'll show in just a second here. But it's important that you realize that this has been pretty much the inverse. As the dollar strengthens, equities, the stock market, gold, cryptocurrencies tend to weaken and vice versa. And so we've seen this pump and people are wondering, is DXY now breaking out? Is this a full-on breakout to the upside? And is this going to suck the life out of the cryptocurrency industry? Now, we've seen some, I guess you could call these charts here. They're not very significant, not very technical, but you can see some points of interest being drawn here. People saying, oh, no, we're still below this trend line. I'm not tremendously encouraged by this trend line. It's not a very technical trend that we've seen here. We're also seeing some channels being drawn saying, hey, no, we still haven't broken out of this bearish channel yet. But you know me, whenever I see a situation like this, regardless, some people, of course, saying, hey, no, we actually did break the trend line, and now we're going to go retest and bounce onward and upward. It seems like there's a lot of conflict here. And then we have, of course, Matty Greenspan, who's a well-known technical analyst, saying he's waiting to buy in at 97.70, which, of course, based on today's price action, looks all too likely. But first, we're going to go and listen to what my buddy Crown has to say about, essentially which direction Dixie's going, which I think is a very important topic right now. So we're going to play a little clip for you here now. I believe it was 30.50 here. And here we go.
It's kind of true. It is kind of true, and I do understand that. It sounds very, very silly, especially for people who are not familiar with markets. But
by the way, if you guys want to check out Crown's channel, I highly encourage you guys to. He's a very talented technical analyst. His channel is called Crown's Crypto Cave, and I'll link it in the description after this video post.
It does play into the world markets quite a bit, and we, you can see this for yourself right here. Let's just look at Dixie, and you can tell me. Dixie's taking a leg up here. Look, it looks like it wants to break to the upside. In fact, this trend line right here technically already is broken as of yesterday, no matter which way you kind of split it as well, now being used to rally off of. I'd really like to, a lot of the time you see something like this and then it fails again. What I really like to see is a higher high being printed above this 93.25 high. If that could happen, then very, very likely this thing's going to rally up towards, $94 in the short term, and that's going to put the hurt on a lot of, a lot of the assets that trade against it, Bitcoin included. That would be a great catalyst for going back down to about 9100-ish region and potentially beyond after that as well. If things do fail there, then I'd be looking at 7500 overall. But we'll get to that one if it becomes relevant. For right now, it's still pretty damn far away, so I don't think that is too much relevant to be talking.
Well, so that's kind of the long and short of it, right? Is Dixie's rallying. When the dollar rallies, assets that trade against it, including Bitcoin, which is pretty much a hedge against the dollar, especially the way that it's being proposed, even as Bitcoin maximalists, everybody understands that it's a hedge against the dollar. So understanding that when Dixie rallies, as we've been talking about since September 1, when the market really took a big pullback, that's been the story, is that DXY has been rallying, and that pretty much is going to suck the life out of a lot of assets. Regardless, we see a lot of anxious waiting here, because the reality is that Dixie's breakout isn't guaranteed. And we know that one of the only ways to fix the current economy is to really print a lot of money. Modern monetary theory is starting to become extremely popular, and people are now starting to understand that the reality of the economy is there's going to be cash printed at a increasingly higher rate than ever before in history. And so we're at kind of a new phase of this economy. So when you see top technical analysts and traders looking to get in at 97, the reality is the CME gap here it's at 96, or I guess it starts here at 99. So technically part of it's been filled, but the reality is if it was to fully fill the gap, it would come down to the $9,600 region. And so, that's the optimistic scenario right now, is that we get a nice bounce off the $9,600 region. As you can see, none of these levels really triggered that big of bounces. And so, we just got a kind of cascading lower channel here. I'm not a TA expert, but you don't need to be one to see that this is a downward looking chart. And so the real goal here is to understand, hey, if and when this bounces and turns bullish again, what are the best bets in the market? Because I believe the DeFi wave is just getting started, right? I believe that my thesis is that if this bull run continues, the DeFi narrative is still going to be the first and strongest horse, right? That's going to be the fastest horse, rather. And so as we look at other factors, like, for example, CZ tweeted this the other day, which is China is coming. And essentially what he's saying is that searches for DeFi started spiking in September, right? And this is as the market started to fall. But this is just as we're starting to see DeFi really gain international prominence and gain some kind of viral presence. And so to see that the searches for DeFi and WeChat are spiking like crazy in early September, this is, of course, as we've already been initiating the pullback. we can imagine that the amount of people that will be ready to hop on once things heat up again will be absolutely astronomical. And that's what I get so excited about, is you don't need to be the first one to call this bounce. I've said this over and over again, which is why I've been preaching caution all throughout this region. I've been preaching caution. And in fact, when we first fell out of the upward channel back here about 2 weeks ago is when I started saying we're probably going to come fill the gap. And in these circumstances, yes, there are going to be people who nail this, who take 100x long right off the perfect base, and good for them, right? But that is a huge gamble, and real, professional top traders don't care about catching the whole bounce. They want to catch like the middle 70% or so. And so once we get a nice pop off of a low that makes sense and has some confluence with both 21-week exponential moving averages, which is typically a bull market indicator, as well as this CME gap here, now we can get multiple data points essentially showing, hey, this thing's ready to go again, especially if that moves in confluence with a drop in the US dollar. That would be the ultimate trifecta, right, of macroeconomic factors, of essentially Bitcoin specific factors, and then we can start to see the bulls, get their feet again once moving, and we can start saying, okay, what are the most undervalued assets in the DeFi market? That's how I'm going to approach this, because if this thing bounces hard, which I believe it has a strong likelihood to, I would say it's more likely to bounce and continue than to just bounce and fall. But again, I don't. It's not about my opinion. It's just about what happens in the market. And so I'm prepared for either scenario, as I highly suggest you be prepared for either scenario, understanding that if it turns more bearish, you'll want to cover and protect your capital, whereas if it turns bullish again, you'll be in a position where we could take advantage of what I see as probably the best opportunity and the most generous opportunity that will happen and will come and be presented to you in 2020, which is, of course, bringing the train back on some of the best assets in the space. And so what I did is I went to Coingecko here, and they have an interesting feature here where you can sort by the most recent all-time high. And so this is an interesting feature, because some of these coins had all-time highs years ago. And so them getting back to those all-time highs from prior cycles, we don't know whether this cycle has the exact same amount of capital and substance as prior cycles. So what is interesting to see is if you go to Coingecko and search by all-time high, and then you filter by the most recent all-time highs and try to find some that had really big dips off of really recent all-time highs that are deeply intertwined with the DeFi ecosystem, you'll start sizing up what I believe are high percentage bets for the rebound of this DeFi bull run. Meaning Kusama was just here coming down from its all-time high of $60. It's now about 50% off that, and it just hit its all-time high in September. And so this is very exciting and encouraging to see Kusama, right? If we start bouncing and Kusama hasn't gotten a huge pump yet, this would be a great one to get involved in, right? And so this is how I'm going to start looking at the market and saying, hey, Serum, which you guys know I'm very bullish on, as you know how bullish I am on derivatives, one of the biggest markets in the world as well. You know I'm very bullish on the work being done with FTX up here, which is actually coincidentally up here, but not as big of a pullback on the FTX token. And so what I see here is you're going to want to, this is how I'm looking at it, right? These are going to be the things that quickly 2x, quickly get back. And of course, the DeFi majors, the DeFi blue chips have the potential to gain billions of dollars in market cap over the course of a prolonged bull run, right? If these bull trends continue, China and other nations, DeFi is still a very misunderstood and niche concept, despite what it might seem to everyone in this industry. This is not mainstream. DeFi isn't bringing in new speculators from the college crowd, from other types of industries like the ICO bubble did. The ICO bubble brought in tons of people. It was a lot easier to understand the ICO bubble than the DeFi bubble. And that's because the ICO bubble was just, hey, here's a new innovative project. Here's a new innovative project. And, oh, let's try to apply blockchain in all these interesting ways. So all you had to do was understand just the nature of blockchain tech. And then most likely for these ICOs, what you'd hear comparisons to companies that you understood very well, like Google, like Airbnb, like Uber, whatever. And so you'll have these comparisons and say, oh, it's Uber for this, it's Airbnb for this. And so it was very easy for people to sink their teeth into and understand the ICO boom, whereas the DeFi boom is completely new. And even for, longtime holders of cryptocurrency, it can be a bit overwhelming to truly understand where the yield comes from, why it's got value, why this is an activity that's going to contribute to the growth of the ecosystem. And it's still, largely up for debate, as there's a big, segment within the crypto community that doesn't believe in DeFi. And so, in my opinion, what we're going to be looking for is essentially the DeFi majors, once this bull trend continues, to have a rapid rebound. And I believe that they're going to catch a ridiculous seam once this market turns around. But until then, you could argue that they're all very overvalued, right? And so until we turn bullish again, I'm expecting a lot of pain in the altcoins, as we've seen, right? It's just as I explained it would happen over the last few days. Not that I want to be right about this stuff. I hate being right about this stuff. I wish I was wrong. And so, that's why I've been so cautious over the last few days, is that this is exactly what I saw coming. And, I wish it were different. I wish we were doing new altcoin gems every day, because that's a lot more fun. But this is just the reality, is by navigating this fear and uncertainty, understanding when the market truly pivots back to a bullish posturing. And in my opinion, the easiest way to do that is to see if we get a profound bounce off of a certain Bitcoin price level, meaning that level is one that investors see as a bottom. And if we can spring up, fill the gap, and then of course move up to onward higher and higher highs, that would be extremely bullish. And that would mean to me that you'd start to see a slingshot of these DeFi alts that got way oversold during these last few days of pain. And in that climate, I believe you'll have some of the best opportunities, not just to get into low cap gems, but to also get into these majors that you maybe missed the boat on, right? Like look at Serum, look at Synthetics, look at Ren, right? Ren is down over 50% on the week. I think it's down even more from all-time high. Or maybe that was the from all-time high. Yeah, that was the chart I was on. But regardless, some of my favorite projects in the space, right, coming down from almost, just call it 60 cents down to 27, right, or 27 up to 58, right? That's more than 50%. And so the ability to see that some of these things have had amazing drops that you can take advantage of. Obviously, Ethereum's not as valid because this would happen in 2018, so you don't want to go off the prior cycle highs. But if it's touched that valuation in just these last few days or weeks, then there's a big argument that the market can support that price still again. And so that's sort of my filter, is by filtering from the most recent all-time highs. You want to pick things that are central and core to the DeFi narrative, and then you want to see whether or not those discounts are juicy enough, right? You want to get a big juicy discount on these kinds of dips, right? Because you're going to see things like Compound 50% off. You're going to see things like, YFI 42% off, right? You're going to see a lot of very juicy discounts. Whether or not this is a good enough discount on YFI, I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. But that's sort of how I'm looking at this, is there's going to be a lot of these better tokens that have lower risk profiles that are deeply intertwined with the DeFi narrative that are going to give you these amazing entries. And that's how generous crypto can be, is to come back, oscillate down, and give you another ride up. And so these are the types of things that, if you look at as opportunities, can be tremendously powerful. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, because we have not, in my opinion, shown anything that would justify a true reversal yet. And so we're still waiting. Unfortunately, there's still some pain to be had. But if you look at it as an upcoming opportunity, that's what I would see it as, is once we get confirmations of reversals, again, the big macro factors of the US dollar strength, the NASDAQ is down significantly. We haven't had any new words or new updates on stimulus. These are three critical factors that I've been citing for the last few months. And so as we start to see more updates, I believe it's going to be impossible for there not to be more stimulus in some form or the other. And so we'll just see what happens there. But again, right now, people could be buying. There's a lot of discounts on the table, but I'm not worried about being the trendsetter here. I'm not worried about claiming for the clout that I bought the deepest, darkest red dip. I'm more interested in preserving capital and waiting for that opportunity to see where some of the best projects have been oversold. And then, of course, we can get these amazing entries back in, because it's not like every single one of these is going to bounce all at once. With Bitcoin, there's going to be, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they'll go in waves, right? And so it's about seeing which ones don't quite take off and don't take that bullish posturing immediately, and catching the laggers, right? I think that's really a great strategy for this next phase. But again, you're going to want to wait for that confirmation. We also have Band Protocol essentially denying the allegations that their co-founder was part of the sushi swap thing. And so we're going to go through this because I saw some angry comments saying that I was claiming that the Band co-founder was the guy and I was stating it like a fact. I'm not. I'm going off of just the evidence that's been presented, right? And so to give a fair shake to the Band community, which I think Band's a good project still, so I want to give them a fair shake. The evidence cited primarily involved sushiswap.org domain, which is provably shown to be hosted on the same IP address as Band Protocol's website. So he did concede, this is Sorvis, I can't say this name, sorry. He did concede that Suryakin was, approached by Chef Nomi for a code review, that's the co-founder of Band, and did provide such a review to make sure no user funds would be lost, since Band was one of the tokens that could be used to farm sushi, and they wanted to support something that could directly benefit Band holders. He went on to explain that the IP addresses are indeed the same because both websites are hosted on Render, a hosting service that has, quote, been gaining in popularity. It is true that many other completely unrelated websites are also on the same address, which seems to reinforce the idea that this is just a coincidence. So, at this point, this isn't evidence proving that it's the same guy, though he did apparently do a code review which shows that there's some collaboration. Again, to me, that's big, right? If they're collaborating and doing code review before launch, to me, that means that there's a personal relationship. But again, just to go through and debunk some of these commonly cited factors, other supposed evidence included similarities in the front-end code, pointing to similar names for some style files that share a common scheme of main.chunk.css, which of course was from React, which everybody uses React now. So again, everybody uses React. So it's just the shortcut way to do front end. So this is definitely not in and of itself proof either. And then finally, some pointed out that the SSL certificate for both websites was issued by the same authority, Let's Encrypt. And once again, even Cointelegraph uses the same provider. So that's not necessarily proof. So again, just some counter evidence. We don't know for sure. It could be the guy. It couldn't be the guy. In the end, what matters more is the future of the project and what the potential has for the project to make the space better and contribute. And so if we can see this as a positive force, if sushi starts providing utility and fulfilling its goals, I think that's all that matters at this point, right? Who cares who is the guy? I guess a lot of people who maybe lost funds care, but it's more important that the project goes forward and creates value, more than, I guess, figuring out whether it was this guy, though. A lot of people are talking about pursuing a legal route or whatever, if everyone feels that strongly or if you got hit that hard, then for sure do it. But I think if there's a future for sushi, that's what we should be focusing on. And then the FTX guy hopping in, that makes me, feel better about it. And hopefully Sam over at FTX will be able to make something good come out of this. This is an interesting little quote frame from Crypto Don Alt, and sort of just about mentality, because I think psychology is one of the biggest parts of these bearish pullbacks, even during bull runs, even during bear markets. If you're a holder, hold. No need to bother with trying to emulate the fancy trades that other people do. If you're just here to hold long term and you want to just be here for the next 5-10 years of this industry, then don't get involved in the sort of day-to-day, right? If you're a trader, trade, and don't worry about whether Bitcoin is the future or not, right? So you have to pick your thesis. Obviously, this isn't a trading channel. We do more sort of gem investings in the altcoin season and then talking about fundamentals. But this is something good to keep in mind of trying to do everything, trying to overcomplicate your life by solving all of life's questions. That's not going to lead to you having a successful sort of strategy. And so it's best to simplify. If you're a holder, hold. If you're a trader, trade. But it's usually best to sort of try to draw a line here, because if you're trading, then you can just be, committed to the charts. And if you're a holder, then just be committed to the fundamentals. And we've also seen a lot of withdrawals from exchanges due to DeFi. And so this is, to me, a net positive. And again, a bullish factor, right? Seeing people essentially withdraw from exchanges is a very bullish thing for the upward price trajectory. Even though you can withdraw from exchanges and still trade Ethereum, the reality is that this is a good sign. And I thought this was just great because I'm a big Looney Tunes fan, or else I grew up on this stuff, right? But apparently Looney Tunes randomly tweeted about Bitcoin. I don't know why, but they said, Elmer asked me if I own any Bitcoin, like it's 2017 or something. Guess this was them cracking a joke. Obviously, it's a little anti-Bitcoin. It has a little bit of like a, Bitcoin hasn't been cool since 2017 ring to it. Not sure if I like that, but hey, they're comparing this to Chuck E. Cheese, who was poking fun at Bitcoin right before they went bankrupt. I don't know if that's fair or right, but at the same time, let's try to not overreact when it's just a joke here. That's sort of my feeling about it. And yeah, we had Cred. Cred just got a deal with Visa, so congrats to Cred. They're going to be, here we go. They're going to be joining Visa's FinTech Fast Track program to speed up payments and borrowing. They want to integrate services with Visa so that Cred can send interest payments directly to customer bank accounts in Visa's network, as well as issue crypto credit cards that will let customers access a line of credit without having to liquidate their crypto assets. Again, we have a lot of debit cards. People call them credit cards, but they're all debit cards like Crypto.com, which, by the way, is an amazing debit card. And if you're not signed up for Crypto.com, I encourage you guys. You could use my link. You'll get a $50 free credit to Crypto.com. Cred now expanding to credit is, I think, a very interesting movement forward. It reminds me of sort of like right now in DeFi, they're all collateralized loans. But once we move to uncollateralized loans or under collateralized loans, which is really what you have in the mainstream world, when I go to borrow money for a house, I put down 20% of the value, and the bank gives me 30 years to pay back the rest. That's sort of the typical deal. But right now we have, if you want to get a house in crypto, you need to have a house, sometimes two houses, to borrow the money for one house. So it doesn't really make sense. It's not really the mainstream use case. So we'll see how things evolve there. But again, I think the involving credit in this new sort of Web3 Internet of Money is going to really set off a lot more risk, but it's also going to attract a lot more use cases. So I think it's very bullish. Oh yeah, memories. Pentagon, hexagon, octagon, September gains are gone. It's okay to laugh, guys. It's okay to laugh. And then this, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because, Fortnite creator attacks Google's chokehold on Android, and they're also doing this on iOS, but they're actually suing Google for an antitrust lawsuit because the way Google and really iOS both do this is they force all app creators to pay a 30% commission on anything that gets billed through the app. And this is way above market rate for being a marketplace processor, right? And so they're saying that, they really are anti-competitive and it's monopolistic, and that this goes against essentially the credo. Where do they have this quote? They said this goes against Google's motto of "Don't be evil." Accused the omnipresent tech giant of violating its founding "Don't be evil" dictum. And so this is just kind of like the full circle growth of big tech, of how it became, big tech's going to, empower everyone to have new freedoms. This is going to be a brand new sort of chapter of society. And we've seen that big tech has created more centralization and essentially put more small businesses and stuff at risk than we had originally imagined, and that it actually turned out maybe to be a little more evil than we thought. And so this sort of, to me, speaks to a lot of the ethos of the crypto revolution that we're in, the blockchain industry, Web3, and what it's going to empower as far as power to the edges and decentralization. And I think it's just going to be really interesting. You guys know I'm quite passionate about gaming and blockchain as well. And so I thought this was an interesting story to see really Fortnite really is the tech platform for the next generation, right? The people who play Fortnite, the kids especially, it's a social experience. It's a community experience. It's a generational experience that defines a lot of people's phases of their life. And so it's very interesting to see the new generation sort of thing. This, you could replace Fortnite and TikTok probably are similar crowds, right? And so the fact that they're suing, Google, which, popped up in Web 1.0 and in Internet 1.0 rather, this is a very interesting sort of face-off to see, Fortnite, who holds the new generation's hearts and minds with the sort of old guard. And I believe Fortnite's going to win this lawsuit. I think they really suckered Google and Apple into this by essentially adding the direct payment feature. If you guys didn't know, they added a feature where you could pay directly and avoid the 30% fee by paying directly to Epic Games. And that goes against the terms of service for Apple and Google. And so they got kicked off the iOS store as well as the Android store. And I believe they baited Google and Apple into a losing lawsuit. So we'll see. This could mean a huge change in the policies on Google and iOS. It could mean, I guess, less of a monopolistic sort of anti-competitive environment. But anyway, with that, I'm going to go hop back in to the main view here and start answering some Q&A. 1,300 people in the house. Guys, do me a favor and smash that like button. Alrighty, let me check out some of the chats right now. Alrighty, how's everybody doing? Craig Sherrill, David Forrest, Dude Stellar, Isaac, Luxo. Hope everyone's doing well. 1333, it's a lucky number. Yeah, I hope Epic wins too. SXP, that's another great coin, right? I believe that Swipe's a great product. I believe in products. I believe in CZ as well. Yeah, destroy the like button, people. Pump gem. Yep. We will get back to the gems as soon as we get a bullish posturing. Again, guys, if I had told you about a gem yesterday, you might be down 30% on your portfolio. That's not nice, right? Thoughts on Cello? Well, I like their integration with Parsec, and you guys know I'm big on Parsec, one of the gems here on the channel. Cello's a very interesting project, got listed on Coinbase, super legit. We'll see how they grow, right? See how they grow. It might be worth checking in to see how they're doing essentially as we get a reversal. YF Die, not familiar. You down with SPA SpareX? Not sure. Polkadot, Vechain, yep. So again, the great part about this is we don't need to go for these sub 5 million market caps like we did as everything's pumping to the roof, because you don't want to buy something as it's at all-time highs. And all the good projects, Synthetics and Ren and Compound Maker, all of the big DeFi majors, M-Stable, like all these big projects were essentially at all-time high. And so it didn't allow for you to get a good entry point. And so now with this sort of, the collapse, which is really just a reset, you're still going to see that a lot of these DeFi coins, again, pending that we do get a reversal here, you're going to see that a lot of these DeFi coins still held on to a lot of their gains, right? Yeah, they got crushed, but it's still 10x, 20x what it was at the beginning of the year. And so, if you can rewind the clock a little bit and see that you're going to be able to get entry points into great coins, essentially the better entry points than you would have been able to without this collapse, that's the big opportunity. That is potentially the biggest opportunity of 2020, is to say, okay, which great coins that have the narrative, the hype, the use case, the point of comparison, all the things that we need for our checkboxes. Once we get confirmation that we're back in the cycle, which on a macro time frame, of course, we're still in a macro bull run, but on a micro or sort of short to midterm, we could be in for some pain, right? And that's what the charts are showing. That's what Dixie's showing. And so if we line up our, fundamentals and wait for that cycle to confirm once again that we're in full bull mode, now I believe we'll have the chance to just really get some amazing rides, some amazing pops. And I think things will return to their all-time highs pretty quickly, right? That's typically how these bull runs work, is that once you get a reversal and things are still in a macro uptrend, you can easily get back to those all-time highs. And so I think that's what's going to happen. Would you tether up your alts or hold and buy some more? So I tethered up quite a bit, but I'm still having some. Obviously, I told you guys in the first move, I moved a lot into Ethereum and Bitcoin, which just move a lot slower. And I still have all the gem picks that I told you guys. I'm still holding those. I'm still holding, some alts, but I do have quite a bit in Tether as well. And so I'm sort of, at a very middle. I'm at a pretty even outlook, where if it pops from here, I'll still have upside, and if it drops from here, I'm very protected in some of my positions. And so to me, it's about being unemotional and knowing that we have a great formula, right? As soon as we get the confirmation that we're bulling again, then we're going to go back and we're going to keep turning that capital into more capital. And so I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about the bull case. I'm worried about the bear case right now. And so people will say, buy the dip, go crazy. But, I've been here for a couple of cycles, and I will tell you guys, it's not fun to be holding alts and wake up every day and see your sort of portfolio wither away. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I don't believe that's what's going to happen. But I'm preparing for both situations. And obviously, it's easier to say, guys, it's going to $1 million. Put all your money in it. We're all going to be rich. That's easy to say, and that sounds good coming out, but I care a lot about what happens to you guys, and I don't want to see you guys get wrecked. I'd much rather you guys be in a position to buy the dip when it does go down lower, or have the funds ready so that when we have our next gems, you're not spent out. You actually have the capital to allocate to the next gems, because I know that once we turn bullish, there's going to be many opportunities, many good opportunities. That I don't worry about. It's the question of whether the macro factors are too strong. And so, once we get that bullish confirmation, we'll go back and it'll be fun again. I love it, but I don't see any reason to be overly bullish right now. What's your honest opinion on Vechain? Seems like a great project with a good team, interoperability, DeFi, and transparent road. Jot Perry, thank you for that. Vechain I was big on in 2018, did some videos on it. It kind of was part of like the moment that Vechain came out, and I can confirm this for you. It's a good example of a project that had good fundamentals, great partnerships. It was all the hype, but I think it dropped in early 2018, if I remember exactly. Let me check this on the chart right now. Yeah, I think I'm right here. And you can see that it actually bucked the trend for a little bit in 2018 and even had a crazy bull run up towards the middle of the year. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it started out here in March and got this huge run up with hype into May. But then the market was just bearish, right? So, this was, maybe it got pumped up by some whales. Maybe they tried to get more people to FOMO in. Who knows what the real story behind this pump was, but it had a very big moment, and then it completely died and has been kind of, the chart has been completely dead to the world. Now, is this a good candidate to potentially make a comeback? I haven't done enough fundamental research to see how much progress they've made. Is the team still intact? Do they still have the grit there to produce at the level that's needed to be successful? Because this chart is still on the floor, right? So if they do have a lot of exciting things coming up, maybe Vechain's a great opportunity as they haven't gotten their 2020 pop. But what was this? This coin was up at, what was this? Almost $10, right? Almost $10, and it's now at 32 cents. That's crushing. It's crushing. So yeah, I mean, I see Vechain's name coming up every now and then, but I'm not buying it yet, right? I don't think it's justified that yet. Bought some more DOT and Serum. Don't want to miss the rise. Correct. Yeah, those are great coins. I believe in those coins long term, right? DOT and Serum. I believe in Serum. Its place makes total sense in the current crypto ecosystem. I believe in DOT. Its place makes sense, right? And so this alt season has really love from London, bro. Keep smashing the content. Thank you, Sonny. So this alt season really renewed my faith that there will be more and more alt seasons all the time, right? I always believed in it, but I didn't want to talk about it too much just because of the channel, Chad Nicholas, thank you so much for the $10 donation. I appreciate that. So for me, I know that there's going to be more and more alt seasons. Crypto is here to stay. That's my belief. And so I'm really excited. And if you invest in projects like Polkadot, like Serum, projects like strong fundamental product first projects that are not just ideas, but are actually impacting the reality of how either the crypto ecosystem works, like DOT, even though, we still have yet to see the full potential of DOT, which is one of the things that's a little bit risky about it, is that there's a lot of hype around DOT. There's a lot of DOT's going to save the world type energy. And that type of energy I have rarely seen play out in crypto. Not saying that DOT can't do it, but I'm saying that energy, I can't think of a single time where everybody has looked at a project like it was going to save the world and save the day. Superman, he's coming down to save us, and all of a sudden everyone's just right, and it just rockets and everyone smiles, and it's just, I can't think of a single instance of it. Does that mean that DOT can't be that game changer? Of course it can, and I hope it is. But I haven't seen anything like it, which is why I've been a little bit standoffish towards DOT. And I'm not saying I knew the future, right? But I did say I was holding off on DOT while it was popping off so hard. And yeah, it's coming down. Obviously, it's still higher than when it transferred over to its new denomination. But we'll see. I think DOT has a big future. It seems like they're pretty close to delivering. So we'll see whether DOT is able to live up to all the hype pretty soon, right? That's what my feeling is. Serum, on the other hand, this makes total sense, right? Derivatives trading in crypto being run by one of the best derivatives platforms in the entire space. I'm very bullish on. Where's the Serum token? Not seeing it anyway, but yeah, we got a couple super chats coming in here. Have I checked out 0x167 ETH staking protocol? Zombie mentioned it today, and it's pretty incredible. I haven't. 0x167 ETH staking. Let's check that out. That sounds pretty cool. ETH staking. talking about Rocket Pool? I don't know. I'm not getting this. Maybe I'm not searching it right. But I'll look into it, guys. I'm always interested in new ETH staking mechanisms, looking to ways that ETH could essentially have their tokenomics become a little more sexy, a little more exciting, because that to me is a huge factor in that ETH's not got the strongest tokenomics. Maybe it's a necessary sort of small inflation that they have, but inflation nonetheless. And so it's a little less pumpamental, as to use a common term these days, as these other coins. Even Bitcoin has better tokenomics, right? So seeing there being a lot of ETH staking, a lot of reasons to lock up ETH, take it off the market, that to me is exciting. It's positive for the ETH community. And right now, ETH, for all intents and purposes, that's the center. That's the ground floor of crypto right now. That's the foundation. The DeFi world is almost 99% of it's on ETH, right? Volvo Ripper North Medine. $5. Thank you. Hi, bro. How can you convert crypto into cash? I'm in Canada and want to move to Mexico. So that's an interesting question. Obviously, there's big exchanges like Coinbase. You can get in and out of US dollars. I'm not sure I think Coinbase is in Canada. Not quite sure. I believe you can do it through the Cash App. You can do it through Gemini. You're looking for a fiat on/off ramp. In your case, you're looking for an off ramp. And you would just be looking for something you could sell it for cash. Obviously, if you want to get it, there was an exchange called Local Bitcoins, but I'm not sure if that's still open, or they got into some trouble. But there's a variety of ways that you could sell crypto for cash, including peer-to-peer. But if you're looking for a sort of generic, easy way, you go to a big fiat on or off ramp like Gemini or Coinbase, Kraken. I'm not quite sure who's the leader in Canada, but yeah, it's pretty simple, right? You just sell it for cash, connect your bank account, and withdraw. If you want to move to Mexico, though, who knows? Maybe it makes more sense for you to sell it directly in Mexico. Maybe it makes more sense for you to get set up with banking in Mexico. Kind of a little out of my depth with that question. Tim enjoys facts. If you held this long, would you continue to hold or move some out to Tether BTC? So, like I said, it looks like the mid 9K levels is going to be where the bounce happens if it happens. That's what I think, right? Otherwise, we're looking at sort of the 7K region, in which case, selling now, you're going to wish you did. But we've seen Bitcoin come back up to this 10K region so many times. It's kind of hard to imagine that it wouldn't. And so if you haven't sold yet, I would say, it's just a matter of, to me, it's a matter of how important the money is to you, right? It's your own risk profile. For me, I've built a crypto portfolio with excess money, right? I have my current financial world all planned out and solidified, and the crypto money is all, if it all went away, I'd be okay. But that's not the case for a lot of people. So if this capital is such that you really, if you lost it, you'd have nothing else, then, I'm not a financial advisor, not financial advice, but I'd consider protecting that capital, because once the bull trend comes back on, if this bull run is as big as it seems like it is, and we get another big leg up, well, that's going to be, I believe, a pretty crazy leg. And so you're going to want to, I would think it would be more valuable to protect the capital you have and deploy it once we're in a bull run situation again, than to be worrying about being out there catching the knife. That's what they call it, catching a knife, because it's a good way to hurt yourself if you don't do it right. And no one can tell you for sure. No one can tell you for sure where it's going to end. So just a question of what your risk tolerance is. If you can't afford to lose this money, then I would say it's okay, and it doesn't make you a coward, it doesn't make you a bad investor to miss out on some of the bounce, because then if we know we're getting back sort of onward and upward here, we're still extremely early, right? Make no mistake about it. The biggest and most popular dApps in the world have like 2,000 users on it. I saw on dApp Radar the other day, pretty much the biggest dApps in the world have like less than 3,000 users on it. And so that's just absolutely mind-boggling, right? Mind-boggling how small it is. It's really, really sad, actually. And so to me, and there's a lot of dApps with fake users on it, but we have, why is it not sorting by fully? I guess, oh yeah, because that one's a sponsored. Okay, so the biggest dApp apparently, and this is like a Ponzi, has 11,000 users on it on Tron. I'm not sure. I wouldn't believe those numbers at all, right? I wouldn't believe those numbers at all, because a lot of the volume on Tron is not real. They don't have any fees, so it's really easy to manipulate the numbers there. But then you're seeing on the big dApps, like where is it? Like Synthetics. Let's look at the ETH dApps. Like all the like Uniswap had 1,000 users on it. 1,000 users on Uniswap, right? And so over the last 24 hours, maybe there was a few more. Let's see what the actual peak was. But come on, guys, 1,000 users. These YouTube videos that I'm putting out get 20,000 views, 30,000 views, right? So you have 1/20th of the people watching one of my YouTube videos that are using the entirety of the DeFi ecosystem. I mean, that's probably not fair, right? Like, call it 5,000, call it 10,000. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's a drop of pee in the ocean, right? And so understanding that if these systems do go on and take over like we're hoping they do, like we're planning for, you're so early. I think it's better not to lose all your money in the bear cycle, right? Something I wish I had been told, something I wish I had done back on the last cycle was to lock in my gains, even though I wasn't fully happy by the time I would have had that opportunity. I would have been much happier seeing how low Bitcoin went. And I'm not saying Bitcoin's going down. Like I said, I believe we're going to bounce. I hope we do. But if you want to protect your capital, there's nothing wrong with that. And I believe that you'll have plenty of time to go ahead and multiply that capital once the bear market fully confirms it's back on and popping. So that's my feeling towards it. We have a $50 super chat. Mike Edwards. Can I just say, Mike, you've been an amazing supporter. Crazy donations. I really appreciate it. Doesn't it make sense to get into something like PRQ if it goes sub $5 or 10 million, sub $5 or $10 million market cap, and get into a super cheap project like PRQ versus Ren Lend? So yes, I believe that the good projects that are undervalued like PRQ are also going to pop off. But I think it's just sort of one of those things of like, we've already seen the sort of leaders retrace so much that we know that they're going to be prime targets for the big bounce. So thinking of a risk reward, you have such a high reward on all of these projects anyway, that the risk essentially you can lower the risk and still get an incredibly high reward by going into some of the DeFi majors. But you're absolutely right. You stand to gain more by percentage for going into those gems that have been, crushed by this drop. Certainly you stand to gain more. In fact, you could say that you stand to gain more from going to something that's not even the top 1,000, right? A super micro cap that's got a 100K market cap no one's ever heard of. But just because you stand to gain more doesn't mean the risk reward setup is really advantageous enough for you to take that risk. That's sort of my feedback on it. 1 second, guys. I gotta pause this. I got a little food at the door, so I'm going to pause this really quick. Hello. Oh yeah, you can just leave it right there. Thank you. All right, everybody. Oh, look. We didn't even get a viewer dip. You guys are the best. I appreciate you guys. So let me go hop into some more Q&A. I hope that makes sense, right? It's just when you see these dips, you're going to get such a pop off the big coins. That's way more, I guess it's just by market cap. The lower the market cap, the higher the risk. That's kind of just the inherent relationship. So if you're going to get so much, most likely, of a pop off of these coins that have just visited those levels, once we get that bullish posturing going, I personally, want a little bit more of certain coins. Ren is a coin that I want a little more of. As I've said to you guys, I want a dark node, right? I don't have a dark node yet, so I want my 100K Ren. And so if this keeps dipping, that for me is going to be a target, right? Of getting some of these coins where if I know I could get a little payments and sort of passive income off of the Bitcoin bridge to other ecosystems, that's my own priority, right? That's my own risk reward profile. So again, you can get bigger gains off of smaller coins, but once we go back to that formula, yes, a PRQ is going to be a great opportunity once we turn bullish again. Obviously, I think, all of the gems that I covered, I'm still holding and I believe in, right? And so, but as far as like the first targets, I think the bigger coins make a little more sense based on risk reward. Hope that makes sense, Mike. Ron, do you still believe in Mantra DAO? So yeah, I do, of course. I think Mantra DAO is one of the hot projects on Polkadot. The Polkadot narrative is super powerful, right? It's not going to become any less powerful. In fact, the Ethereum fee crisis, if anything, makes it more powerful. And then, of course, looking at MantraDAO and their upcoming token sale at the end of the month with Vechain, our fuel, I think our fuel is going to pop, and they're kind of very connected, right? Where they're going to be two tokens for the same ecosystem. Vechain is the underlying infrastructure, and MantraDAO sits on top of it. But yeah, I think MantraDAO, especially with the pullback, I haven't seen what it pulled back to. I believe MantraDAO is going to pop really hard once it stops bleeding. Yeah, so it's down to 25 cents. I think it was, yeah, so that's a nice juicy discount, right? I think its all-time low is about 22 cents, and we're almost there, right? And so, yeah, once we get a little correction, I'd imagine that these Polka projects that have been really crushed are going to do really well. And MantraDAO, and of course with their upcoming sale for Vechain, which looks like it'll probably give some good gains, I'd imagine that it'll become a token that people are going to try to buy. So I'd imagine it will do well. Okay. All right, guys. As I understand, the public sale is at the end of the month. Alrighty, guys. Dot anyone? Yeah, dot everyone. Thoughts on Vechain? Vechain, another beastly project. I'm actually chatting with the founder tonight, not Sunny, but the founder of Bitsy tonight, who also is working on Fusion. Just trying to understand what their technology can do, because interoperability is becoming a really critical area for me. As you see the dot narrative, but I'm also interested on what other projects are doing interesting interoperable solutions. So very interested in all that. YF Beta, again, they had that thing yesterday where the lead dev said he was leaving and then said he was coming back. And so they've had, this coin has been such a wild ride. It went all the way down to 400, popped all the way up to 2,000, had a flash crash down to 100, back up to 1,300. So it flash crashed yesterday down to 100, and then did a 13x back up, and then sold off, and is now, I guess, around 800. What a ridiculous bucking bronco that is. And that kind of just shows you how speculative these YF coins are. It's that's why I call them degen plays, because they're just really speculative. It reminds me of that meme where the person was jumping from line to line, and they just couldn't get to the front of the line. Kusama, yeah, I just talked about Kusama. Again, it's bled out a lot. Very recent all-time high, incredibly strong narrative and tech, and I believe Kusama will be a very strong bouncer once this thing turns bullish again. Any thoughts on Unipower? Not really. Thank you, Farmer John. I know you've been in my email. I don't want to share any thoughts on Unipower. Is banned one to avoid after the sushi debacle? No, I don't think so, right? We don't know for sure that it's the guy. They've had some convincing counterpoints as to why it's not the guy. I've had somebody that I talk to and trust that's a linguistic analyst that said the band co-founder and the sushi founder have such different linguistic styles that they would have to be schizophrenic for it to be the same person. I don't really know. It's not really that critical of a data point for me. It doesn't take away what band is. Let's analyze band and let's analyze sushi. And the founder dumps. Okay, let's just analyze the project. Even after the founder dump, is sushi viable? I think we're going to see whether the answer to that is yes or no in the next few months, right? Does sushi get integrated into Serum? Does it become meaningful? Do people trust it? Or has the sushi turned, right? That's just a matter of project by project. Does band become non-viable because of sushi? I don't think so, right? I don't think so. Wearable, NFT project. Yes, I'm big on NFT projects, and Wearable has been popping. Let me see what their recent price action is like. Wow, 139% pop. They are really popping. Let's see though. So did they get hit at all in this dip? Sorry, my thing's not loading. Oh, wow. Wow, September's been an amazing month for Wearable. Wow. They began the month at $1.35, and they're now up at $4.83. That's one of the only projects I've seen pumping like this. Amazing. I need to look into their news, but as you guys know, I'm extremely bullish on NFT projects. I personally, I believe that I'll be able to share this with you guys soon. I have my own approach to it, but I think Wearable is interesting at 5 million market cap. Maybe it's a little big for the current stage, but we'll see. Again, I haven't done a deep dive into Wearable except knowing that they're doing NFTs, and they've kind of, as far as NFT projects, have some of the more hype. So they've done really well. Obviously, the chart looks parabolic, so I wouldn't be jumping in now, especially as it looks like there's more pain to come in the macro trend. Thank you for reviewing Rari. I will. You're welcome. I wouldn't call that a review, but whatever. Any word on Falcon Swap? So I asked the team. They said that I could potentially get early access. Again, I have no idea if it's legit or not still. Super high risk, just as the day when we reviewed it. I'm still holding my whole stack, exactly the same stack as when I bought it. And if they deliver, it'll be amazing. If they don't deliver, it's going to suck. Have you checked Spartan Protocol, Binance Launchpad? I'm guessing that's what you're supposed to say. Annoying Donald. Sorry, I haven't. Sorry. Near Protocol. Yeah, this keeps coming up. Near Protocol, scalable. I'm actually not 100% sure. I'm getting it confused with something else. No, I'm not. I'm not familiar enough to chime in. Thoughts on Phantom? Again, Andre Cronje seems to be an interoperable solution. Like I said, scalability, interoperability, DeFi spreading its wings, going to be a big part of the next phase. So yeah, Phantom lines up for me. So what are your thoughts on XRP? YouTubers seem to either be crazy about XRP or never talk about it. It's my second largest holding. All right, XRP. Are we going to do this right now? Yeah. XRP is just, their narrative to me doesn't quite fit anymore. And the biggest problem with them is that they've become a multi-billion-dollar privately held company that has made a tremendous amount of money off of dumping on its community. It's so centralized, the coin supply, and really, if banks don't start turning to XRP in mass to make their payments, then it's not really a solution that makes sense. So I'm not saying XRP is dead or anything. It's just, to me, I don't see what their lane is. I don't see what the appeal of using them. Now they're going to try to pivot into dApps, apparently. They have a lot of money. They could start paying for good development. But what we've seen is that a lot of money doesn't equal real progress. We've seen it time and time again in crypto that all the biggest money, the biggest partners, the biggest sort of backers, the longest resumes does not equal creating products of substance. And if it did, EOS would be the #1 blockchain in the world. EOS has all the backing. They spent $20 million just buying voice.com, the web domain. And God knows how much they spent on actually programming the product. And so if money was all that mattered, then XRP would have the best apps, EOS would have the best apps, they'd all have huge amount of usership, but they don't, right? So I think what's missing here is there's a layer of innovation, a layer of creativity. I believe I have my beliefs on what the next phase is, which I'll be unloading on you guys very soon. Super exciting. But I don't think that XRP right now has a good lane. And so the fact that they've failed to onboard the banking world, the fact that the banking world is just going to build their own blockchain solutions, definitely not going to use XRP en masse like they were hoping. Maybe they'll get some more clients. They could build their own sort of privately held software company business. But given the supply issue, I don't see the XRP token in and of itself being that attractive. Now, could I be wrong? Could it become the biggest, craziest gainer of 2021 or whatever? It's all possible, right? But for me, on the fundamental side, I don't see it. Thoughts on Alliance Block? So I was supposed to get into Alliance Block. I just kind of got cold feet, just being like, you know what? I didn't feel good about the market. Pulled the 25x off the rip. It's a solid project, but right now I think it's, from what I can tell, their market cap's over 100 million already. So I don't know. I don't know what the outlook is there. It might be too big. Might need to cool off. So I missed my entry into Alliance Block. Boring is XRP. Yep. Have you heard of Meridian Network? Lock. Nope. Any feelings about ADL? So yeah, Acropolis. I'm a big Acropolis fan, and the ADL token. I haven't dived deep enough to really see how much more value it adds. But I believe that ADL plus Acro is definitely a prime target once we get a bullish reversal here. They're in the Polka narrative, they're in the DeFi narrative, they're in the yield farming narrative. They have a really sleek sort of product design. From what I can tell, based on all the information I have, looks like it would do really well once this thing turns around. Seller Network, again, part of the Polka narrative. are YFI type token scams. They're not, YFIs aren't scams. They just function quite a bit like Ponzi's, right? Where it only works with increasing numbers of active users and more investment after you. And so, you know, what makes YFI special is they have Andre, who keeps cranking out these products, and he keeps putting out impactful product after impactful product. Whereas, you know, these other, sorry guys about the sirens. Whereas these other projects, they don't have that. They don't have an Andre Cronje. So they're kind of just chasing. And the ones that have good fundamentals behind them, it doesn't really matter because it only works if more and more people sort of FOMO in. And so, you know, the YF place is a minefield. And so I think YFI, you could make the argument because of Andre Cronje and the constant innovation in product deliveries. That's what makes it a little special. Whereas the other YF projects feel just like gambling. Elio, what are your thoughts on XRP? Sorry, I already answered that. Thanks again for the super chat. Sorry I couldn't give you what you wanted, brother. Tezos, please. No, I'm not going to go into Tezos. Why haven't you invested in Chainlink? I have a lot of link. Anchor/flash swap, news/thoughts. I'm actually not sure what that means. MTRG meter. Lightning. Not sure what that means either. I guess that's a project. BZRX, I think it got crushed. A lot of things got crushed, guys. That's kind of one of the beautiful things about right now is once we get this bullish resurgence and we see that the market's headed back upwards, look at all these projects that have done fast, like incredible growth. They're probably going to pop back up to those all-time highs, or at least this cycle highs, right? So if you're looking at things that are down 60%, 70% from their all-time high just a week ago, and the market turns back on again, well, it's probably not that crazy for them to get back up there. And if you look at something that's going from 30% to 100% on a 70% drop, that's actually over a 300% growth. That's a 330% growth. So it's huge, right? Are you thinking to buy SparkPoint or Unify DeFi? I have not bought either of those. Energy Web Token, yeah, another one. Like EWT supposedly is doing a partnership with a whole country. Again, I haven't confirmed that, right? And I don't think we know which country it is, but that's the rumor. So yeah, something like an EWT, which has a crazy high market cap, right? Let's see how much it's down from all-time high. It's down to, I think its all-time high was about 13 or 14 bucks. Yeah, so it's not even down that much, right? Yeah, it's what? No. This isn't right. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, so its all-time high was 13.50, and it's down here at 8.84. What is it? $9. So yeah, EWT probably not as big of a drop as other tokens, but if you're looking for something that could be a potential target for the future of clean energy, right? That's a big target. Hey, maybe EWT gets you a little short-term gains when it pops back up to all-time high. Maybe it just becomes one of the most important utilities in the future of our energy sector. So those are the types of the questions that, you know, are a little more conceptual of EWT. Is it overvalued or is it tremendously undervalued for what it might do in a couple years? Again, things are not being speculated on based upon what they're doing today. They're being speculated on what they're going to be doing tomorrow. When you buy a stock, when you buy a crypto, you're buying its value tomorrow. It's buying the value in a year from now. That's how Tesla, with no profits, can get up to being bigger than every American car manufacturer combined. With those projects or those companies have tens of billions in profits. EWT will dump under 8, maybe. What are your thoughts on Poopcoin? That was like the Coinbase thing to clean up San Francisco, right? I actually didn't look into it. Offshift, can you check out XFT? I think that's Offshift. I've looked into it. I remember thinking positively about it, but I can't recall exactly what the full breakdown is. Do I still believe in synthetics? Yeah, of course. Like I said, the DeFi majors, synthetics, Ren, Lend, Maker Compound, all those big platforms, most likely are going to bounce. Most likely they're going to get the big bounce once it turns bullish. But if it doesn't turn bullish, there's a big argument that those DeFi majors might get hit the hardest, right? Your food's getting cold. It's actually a poke bowl, so it's okay if it gets cold. Power Pool, not familiar. Tether buy out. So Tether was actually on my month's list, and they're still coming out with their V2 this month. So if we get a bullish reversal by mid-month or sometime thereafter, I'd expect Tether to be a great performer thereafter. I still have a great month. And of course, these levels with it down, I think it's down at about $20 now. TRB might become one of the better opportunities to scoop up on this dip. But yeah, it's down at $32. All-time high, I believe, was over 100. Was it over 100? Am I talking? Yep. I wasn't crazy here. The all-time high was 87. So it's down here at 32, almost a 3x up to the all-time high, especially with good positive fundamentals and part of the Oracle space, part of the DeFi space, the most decentralized of the Oracles. Yeah, Teller's got a lot of great fundamentals, and especially getting in on a Teller when this thing turns around, probably it's not going to be the first coin to pop back up. So you'll probably have some time to say, all right, Bitcoin's doing well, Ethereum's popping up again, the DeFi majors are starting to run, everyone's FOMOing into YFI again. Maybe now is a really good time to buy some Tether, because this thing could easily get back to its all-time high and even push to newer highs with its V2 release. Okay, so that $32 entry might be a great entry. That's a good example. Ocean, yeah, another one. I think Ocean had a really significant dump as well, but I really like what Ocean does as well. They were on my August list. Again, the August list is still a great list. I stand by that August list. And yeah, you see it had an amazing growth throughout August. Definitely fell off a little bit here. Let me see what it's, oh yeah, it already has it right here. So the ATH here was 74 cents, and it's here at 34 cents. Kind of a similar setup to Teller. Again, that's what I'm saying, is these amazing projects that have, major exchange listings, prominence, more support and energy and momentum than other projects in the space. Those are going to be like inherently less risky plays. And so would you rather triple up on something you know is going to be around in 5 years, or that it looks like it's going to be around in 5 years? Or would you rather potentially 10x on something that you don't know if it's going to be around in 1 year? And so that's sort of like the balance, right? Of you don't have to take all that risk to get a crazy pop, and doubling, tripling your money, that's nothing to snub your nose at. I just want to say thank you for all the advice. You are the #1 crypto YouTuber. Rodrigo Sierra, thank you so much for being a great follower. Thank you. I appreciate it. Cream Finance, yep. Apparently, and this is what's, there's just a new 8-bit or stylized YFI clone coming out all the time. I'm sure there are subtle differences between them, but that's what it feels kind of like gambly to me. That's why I haven't been jumping into them. Big congrats to everyone making money doing it. Congrats to you guys, but I'm not really, that's not how I play the game. You're awesome, Elio. Thank you, W. Irv. You guys rock. All right, who else? I don't think I missed any super chats. All right, column, sell targets for PRQ and swap. Yeah, well, to me, it's more about if this bull run keeps going, it could be a lot higher than any kind of fundamental or technical analysis could lead us to believe. So finding great projects that have strong products and they can be integrated and really spread throughout the crypto ecosystem, like swap and PRQ, they could go incredibly high, right? And so I don't want to give a precise sell target, because I would probably not, with those projects, even if they got insanely high in value, I would ladder out. I would just constantly sell portions of the bag, lock in some profits, but keep the moon bag, right, in case it keeps going like crazy. And that's just how you diversify, and that's how you sort of hedge, right? You're never going to know what the market does. You're never going to outsmart the market. So you take hedges. You hedge and you dollar cost average, you ladder in, you ladder out. Alrighty. Have I looked into Fusion and AnySwap? Yes, I have looked into Fusion and AnySwap. I'm very interested in what they're doing, and I'm going to be talking with their team more and seeing exactly what their tech can do, because there's a lot of talk about these solutions. I just want to understand exactly what the tech does right now. So I'm going to be bringing my my co-founder, my CTO on, and we're going to be talking to their team about exactly what their tech does very soon. Opinion on projection and Unitrade. Trade, again, it's kind of in the Falcon swap category. They're supposed to be launching pretty soon. They had a crazy pump. I wasn't sure how legit this pump was. It seemed a little inorganic, the level of pumpery that was happening, especially in early September as everything else was crashing. This thing almost doubles up. But regardless, I'm holding Trade. It's been speculative since the beginning because we haven't seen their product yet. Anonymous team. So this kind of fits into the Falcon Swap category. I think they're showing a little bit more of their product. So I'm pretty confident they'll deliver their product, but we just need to see. Do they deliver it? When they deliver it? How many people using it? Let's see what the actual proof's in the pudding now. And it's the same thing with Falcon Swap. It's no point in speculating anymore. We'll see if they deliver soon enough. One Up, thank you. One Up, back to you. Yeah, Uptrend, another one of Jeff's projects. XDAI stake, please. Yeah, again, you see XDAI stake on our initial comparison here. We went sorted from all-time high. I know I'm not showing it, but I sorted from all-time high on Coingecko and then sorted from the most recent all-time highs. And you see here that XDAI stake, actually, let me go to page 2 here. And with this method, you see XDAI stake is really one of the more exciting, juicier ones because, where is it? Yeah. It's one of the most recent all-time highs, and it got hit with almost a 50% retracement since then. And so we know that layer 2 scaling solutions on Ethereum are going to be a huge, huge hot topic in the next few weeks and months as Ethereum is not ready for prime time traffic. And so something like an XDAI, something like any kind of alleviation to the gas crisis, we know people don't want to make the jump to other platforms. They just don't want to yet. And so the fact that XDAI is on Ethereum, which everyone, clearly favors, means that it has a chance to take a real market share. And so seeing it during this cycle in September, making an all-time high and then retracing 50%, it seems like that, especially if there's more pain there, would be a great opportunity. Again, it was on my September list. I stick by my lists, guys, even though the reality is once we turn bullish again, I'll be doing whenever that is, if and when that is. I believe it will happen, hopefully within the next week or two. I'll be putting out a new list based upon the way the market is set up right now, because as prices change and everything's been hit so hard, the actual best coins have, the market is very different than September 1st when I put the video out. I'll say it that way. So XDAI too expensive, depends on how you look at it. Anchor has new project powering DeFi protocol Flash Swap. Fills a gap between, oh yeah, interesting. You guys know I'm bullish on Anchor. UBT, yeah, UBT is a phenomenal project. Again, you guys are naming the great projects here, so it's like, does it make more sense to get into these projects that we know are dominating, that could grow? Again, if cryptocurrency catches a mainstream wave, the amount of money in the industry is going to grow exponentially. And so do you want to be in those big projects that are set to absorb the brunt of that new money? Or are you going to be in the smaller projects that are just inherently risky? And so when you have a huge bull market like we had throughout August, July, August, and unfortunately ended at the beginning of September, or at least paused, it makes more sense not to go after the things that have already gone up 10x, 20x, because how much more capital is needed to push it further. But when you have one of those great projects that looks like it's at the center of all the narratives and has been overcorrected or has been hit super hard, to me, the risk reward profile there starts to become really juicy, really, really exciting. All right, guys. I think I've gotten to all the super chats. Federico Abro, thank you so much for the super chat. Rebecca G, thank you so much for the super chat. Elio, you are the man. Thank you so much for all the information you provide us on your channel. I've learned so much from you that I know will help me through this bull run. My pleasure. You are welcome. Alrighty. Elliot, bro, Alpha Leak just for you. What do you think of Wearable? Andre Cronje is working with them to launch an NFT covers for YFI. Art covers for YFI. Yeah, I mean, it seems kind of like a surface integration so far. I believe that nobody's solving the real problem with NFTs. Nobody's solving the real problem with NFTs yet, and I believe I have a good solution for it. So I'll be sharing a lot more about that when the time is right. Why is Tether still minting millions and sending to exchanges? Gotta ask them. Orchid, yeah, they definitely had a huge collapse here. Orchid, that was part of my August picks that did, I think, a 300% growth, something crazy. Orchid had a huge pop throughout August. Let me get it right here. Yeah, it went from about 20 cents up to all-time high was 84. So yeah, about a 400% pop there. Matic and Bat, please. Come on, don't spam the chat, man. Don't spam the chat. You're on timeout. All right. Will Trust Swap run up again? I believe so, right? Trust Swap is one of the hot coins of this bull run, and especially as they continue to make news, the constant news out of Trust Swap, big goals, newer, higher highs that they're trying to hit. I believe that once the market reverses, TrustSwap will have a good future. Although you have to understand, they're already pretty big for what it is right now, right? It's a couple of escrow contracts right now. It's already pretty big. So will they go on to higher and higher highs? I think it's a matter to me of seeing which projects use them as a launch pad. Because if we get incredibly high quality projects using TrustSwap as a launch pad, then that's going to create the real FOMO there, where you need to be holding 10K swap. You need to be in this whitelisted community. And so those people are going to be getting incredible opportunities. It's up to Jeff and the gang to lock in those partnerships. And so if they're able to do that, then TrustSwap's got a huge future ahead of it. I see the launch pad as the most important piece there, because they're doing like a derivatives DEX where fees are paid to swap holders. That stuff, it's like, yeah, it's a great goal, and you know how bullish I am on derivatives, but that's a whole project in and of itself that is a huge undertaking. So it's like, it feels a little bit like they're throwing a little bit too high difficult targets in front of them and kind of trying to do everything. And so I would encourage TrustSwap. I hope TrustSwap focuses on their core use cases that make them very, very special, which is, you know, the milestone-driven ICOs, the smart ICOs, the escrow features, as well as really important, the launchpad, right? If they get those great projects coming through the launchpad, I think that is really the king, the disruptive use case. So that's my opinion on TrustSwap, is I hope they focus on getting great projects on their launchpad. What is the logic behind valuation of alts? Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing. Well, that's the point, right? Is that it's all speculation right now. Some of these alts have fundamentals behind them. They have revenue and all that. But the real belief is that Web3 and the future of these altcoins is going to take over big chunks of the economy. And as Charles Hoskinson would say, that crypto is going to eat the world. So if that happens, then alts could go up, you know, hundreds, thousands of X's in volume or value. But if that doesn't happen, then, you know, it's a lot of speculation right now. And there's not a great way to measure alts, which is why when you have a leader in the space, it makes things easier. When you have a link, it makes it easier to say, hey, I think Band and Dia and Teller and DOS, I think those could all grow really big, because look at the point of comparison. And Chainlink in and of itself is even hard to value, which is why people can claim it's extremely under or overpriced depending on what you see the future as. And so that's what makes the altcoin space so potentially rewarding and so potentially, I guess, destructive to capital, is that that speculation can go explosively in either direction. And there's not a ton of hard and fast ways to value altcoins, which is why you have the boom and bust cycles. And so that is unfortunately the reality that we're in still, is that there isn't a lot of, there isn't a lot of usage of cryptocurrencies that's non-volatile. Let me explain that. When you have cryptocurrencies that are being used for everyday purposes, having nothing to do with the growth or decline of the valuations in the market, meaning people aren't just here to make money, they're actually using a product where they have to rely on a token or an ecosystem for everyday use cases, like take, for example, the supply chain logistics cryptos like Vechain or like Track, Origin Trail. Those types of projects are going to be everyday uses. They're tracking blockchain, supply chain, so that you know the origin of these products, and that's going to happen rain or shine in the crypto markets. Whereas if you have something that's just pure based on a crypto native play, like I think TrustSwap is an interesting example, right? There's not as much demand for a decentralized ICO launchpad if there's not a lot of growth of these token values. So no one really cares about the launchpad when the market's in a bear market, or, you know, they don't care as much. If you have a project like a DeFi project that's just about yields, or like a yield farming project, well, those really only work with the growth of the governance token valuations. And so otherwise the yield kind of disappears. And so the reality is the yield, thank you, Rodrigo Serra, my food started off cold, so it's okay. So in the end, it's about the play. And I believe that my hope is that in this next generation, and I'm working hard. Every time you don't see me, I'm working on my own project. And the goal is to work on things that do not depend on just gains, do not just depend on the bull cycles, because the bull cycles, while they can be extremely long lasting, even this moment in the bull cycle has a lot of people shaken in their boots, right? And so it's not just this unbridled optimism. There's a lot of sort of a roller coaster of emotions. And I think that by building real utility within the crypto space is how we start to bridge that, and we can start having logical valuations for altcoins, or at least there's some fundamentals there. Whereas right now there really isn't. Like TVL. TVL is, we use that as a fundamental, but people can unlock value out of the DeFi ecosystem extremely fast. So it's not like TVL is money that's there forever, right? You can move TVL from one coin to the next project to the next project, and you didn't have $10 billion there. You just had, money hopping, right? And so there's just not a lot of underlying fundamentals for you to go on. We do our best with fundamentals, but there's just not that many. YFV still a thing? Yeah, I mean, it's as much a thing as it could have been. When I first evaluated it, it had such a small total value locked compared to its market cap. And so that was my logic for picking it. It obviously has gotten crushed since my picks, but so has the entire market. And let's see what their total value locked is right now. Whoa, it's got $0 locked in YFV. Is this a bug? Is this a bug? I don't know. Seems like they have $0 locked. Must be some bug. I don't know what's going on there. But if it's the case that they have $0 locked, that's not good. It's definitely not good. You guys ever sent Ethereum? Let me now ask if you ever sent XRP, which is faster. Okay, so who cares? No one cares. Thoughts on YFL? Thanks, man. YFL. YF link. All right, guys. So here's my take on all the YF projects. And you guys remember I retweeted the YF beta thing. I had some YF beta, but I retweeted it as a degen play. Degen meaning just for the gains. There's no real fundamentals that protect any YF project from being immediately copied by the next project looking for pumps. And so there's no moat. There's no protection. There's no product that makes them different. It's just a forked code base with a slight tweak on tokenomics, right? So to me, the YF projects have no moat. The only moat I saw was the genius that is Andre Cronje and his rapid pace of development. Other than that, I don't think any of them have any staying power. Could you catch some amazing gains off them? Of course you could. But can I give you a fundamental reason why one's going to be successful over the other? Well, YFV had about $450 million locked in it, and it had a tiny valuation compared to that. So I thought that was a rationale that it should catch up. It got crushed though, and I'm not seeing, maybe that's a bug right now, but it's not showing the TVL. So regardless, to me, it's all these YF projects are very difficult because they could pump, but then you see the next day another one's pumping, and it's just money jumping from bucket to bucket. And as that money jumps, these big whales, they're playing you guys because you're starting to FOMO into the token. It gives the thing they're farming way more value. They then dump, rinse, and repeat. So it's sad that the whales are sort of making a field day out of this, but they're eating everyone for lunch when they're jumping from YF project to YF project. The YF project's 326 mil in YFE. Is that what it is? I hope so. I was seeing the TVL on their site as oh, there we go. What the heck? Oh, so it just refreshed. It was showing $0 for me for a minute. So yeah, look, it's got over 300 million locked in it. It's got a market cap of 38 million. It could 10x to get up to its TVL equivalent. So it's, from that particular lens, it looks good. But again, these YF projects are pretty hard to predict. We are Tether, TRB. Yeah, I've said a lot of nice things about Tether on this stream. Elliot, if you made your own token, could you recruit anyone from any team or project? Who would you recruit first? That's a great question. The problem is that I wouldn't actually be recruiting from within the crypto space. I wouldn't be recruiting a crypto person because I don't have any problems in crypto. That's not the problem. We have plenty of viable models in crypto. What we don't have is users. And so I would be focusing on product people, on sort of product people that are outside crypto, real studs that are not part of the crypto ecosystem, focusing on the product side. So that would be my answer. And so I don't think it would really be all that easy for you to, it's not someone in crypto, I guess is the easiest way to say it. Thoughts on Secret? Yeah, there's a lot of these privacy coins, privacy blockchains. It's very uncertain, and the regulatory environment around privacy coins is also very uncertain. Could people in mass start turning to privacy coins? Maybe. But we haven't seen that. And we also know that Monero apparently can be tracked. And so the ability to remain private is not guaranteed. And also the regulatory environment is not guaranteed. Thank you guys. Yes, YFE 326 million locked. That has been confirmed. Sorry for the unnecessary FUD there. Didn't mean it. I was just, it was showing $0 on my screen. Travala, Road to Adoption. Yeah, that's a great product as well. Any thoughts on chain games? Yeah, like it's interesting, right? I haven't, I think that Jeff and those guys are good at building communities behind their project. I think chain games as a game is still extremely, very early alpha sort of game. And so hopefully they can come with better games and integrate. But this is kind of a space that I'm deeply involved in. And so, I think the big question is the chain games game going to be mainstream success? Elliot, are you super bullish on Falcon Swap with all the other swaps coming out? Well, they're all quite different, right? And so we'll see who's first to market. We'll see who gets the users, right? But if Falcon Swap does launch and a lot of people from the Uniswap ecosystem start using them, I think they'll do well. Obviously, that target has become a clear target. So there's going to be a lot of people trying to hit that target. And again, I don't have a crystal ball. I just know that the day that I found Falcon Swap and reviewed it, it looked like if they were to deliver, that it's an extremely easy big gainer. But again, like I said, we don't even know if their tech is going to happen, right? I've been talking to the team. It seems reassuring, but again, I'm not going to believe an anonymous avatar. I'll believe when I see it, right? And so, like I said that day, extremely high risk, not for everyone. We don't know about the tech for sure, but if it's real, I think they'll do well. That's my thoughts. How far along is my project? You guys will find out soon. Ren thoughts? Yeah, I love Ren. About PRQ, yep. Everything's getting crushed right now, guys. Which is why you guys haven't heard, as soon as we fell out of the channel, you guys haven't heard me talk about altcoins, even though there's plenty of coins that I like. It's not the time, right? Because even the great coins with great fundamentals get totally crushed during these pullbacks. I've been through it too many times. And this is where the experience comes in, right? This is the thing you can't buy, right? You can read all the books, you can watch all the YouTube videos, but if you haven't been through it, you don't know what it's like to go through it. And so you'll either sell when you shouldn't sell, or you'll buy when you shouldn't buy, or you'll sort of get caught in the wrong part of the cycle. And so my position is, I know what the bull market's going to look like once we turn back up, and I also know what the bear market's going to look like if we continue going down. And so I don't care. I don't need to be the first to the party. I know we're going to go kill it once we turn bullish. It's just a matter of waiting for confirmation and protecting capital so you don't get bled out while we're figuring it out. That's my sort of policy. All right, guys, I feel like we're getting a lot of the same things going around in circles now. But yeah, this was great. I love chatting with you guys. Been a great Q&A. Again, hold strong. The purpose of this movement is very much intact. The underlying reasons why we're doing this, why this market has value, is never been stronger, really, in my mind. And so we have so much to look forward to. But what you want to do is make sure that you don't get completely crushed and that you're not too, like when you have these crazy alt seasons, there becomes a lot of froth in the market. And so a lot of those alts will get crushed extremely hard when the market turns down. And so if you're not locking in those gains, then it kind of undoes all the amazing work that we've done over the course of the last few weeks and months, which is why I'm encouraging people to be conservative, because I want you guys to enjoy those gains you had and not essentially look back and go, gosh, I wish I had sold on September 2nd and wish I had moved some of my positions into the majors, which don't get crushed as hard. It's just I've been down this road. I want to tell you we're going up to the moon tomorrow, but it could be a couple months, it could be a couple weeks, it could be a couple hours before we turn bullish again. And I want you guys to, when we turn bullish again, have enough of a portfolio that you can keep 2, 3, 5, 10xing and go onward and upward. I want this progression to keep going. And so that's why I've been holding off on pushing any altcoins right now. But I think what you should be looking for is confirmation on Dixie, DXY. We should be looking on confirmation out of the Bitcoin chart. And once we start seeing confirmations that the dollar's come off of its whirlwind growth over the last few days, that we see Bitcoin turning up and bullish again, hopefully we get another sort of congressional passing of the stimulus. And once those macro factors start to have some confluence, we can go back to the playbook and continue to have insane gains all together. And I'm super excited for that. So I'll leave you guys with that. We've never been stronger from a macro perspective. On a micro level, we're on a wait and see, but I'll be here with you each and every step of the way. I'm really excited about the community we've built. I'm super excited about the future of this community. And so if you guys want to connect with me, feel free to follow me on Twitter or join the Telegram. The links for both of those are in the description. Yep, they're in the description already. And I'd be happy to answer any of your questions that I didn't get to there. So Chester Adlin, feel free to hop in my Telegram and send me a message, and I'll be happy to respond to you guys. But until then, wishing you guys a happy and healthy midweek, and I will see you guys very soon.